And I'm glad everybody can make it. This is cool. This is the kind of thing I like doing and stuff like that. So I'm going to do it this way. I'd love to do it where you guys can just ask questions, and we get it going. We get the ball rolling that way. And I'm down to answer whatever kind of questions you have on any topic regarding anything from mental game to vision training to whatever it is. I guess this was hitting related. All right, let's go. Anybody got something they want to start with?
Hitter's approach, how do you differentiate with a hitter with runners on base as opposed to no runners on base?
So when I'm coaching in a team setting, I like to make sure that our hitters understand. But I like to call it feel the game. And sometimes we have to, as coaches, depending upon the age and the IQ level of the hitters, we have to interject in a lot of times and get them those teachable moments. Hey, I need you to feel the game. But I'm going to start with this because that's a great question. I like having the hitting person to not be on the bases coaching. I think the hitting person on your team should be in the dugout. Because then if the hitting person is in the dugout, they're able to have conversations with players before they go into the on-deck circle, and after an at-bat, they have time to talk to them. Because if you're on the bases, you never see your hitters. By the time you get back in the dugout, they're on the field. And when they come out from the field, you're on third. You don't get to talk to them. So I think it starts with setting up your team system, communication system, with a good bench coach who has the ability to communicate effectively and understand how to deal with the things that change in the in-game settings. So the hitters that have been around for me for like a year that I coached in-game, we always say, feel the game here, feel the game. What do we need from you? So there's always going to be three situations. The first situation would be, maybe there's no one on base. Now we need a base runner. So I don't need you chasing balls at your neck and popping up in the first pitch when we need a base runner, right? So that's one. If I have runners on base and we're late in the game specifically, like later in the game, you may be in a situation where we need to move runners. And a double in the gap still moves a runner from first home. We still score, but it's still moving runners. So the objective is going to be, to have those little short cues. And I'm going to be talking about the cues in the cage later on. You'll see how I actually coach in game and what short, brief cues I use to be able to teach or give instruction without giving instruction. And then the third thing, right, is going to be situationally, like, for example, if we have infield in, right, and I cue a hitter, like, I need you to get on top of something here. Me personally, I don't believe in infield in softball. It's just too close. You're making the hitter too good. The most I'll go is halfway. I'm not making the hitter so much better and going all the way in. So, but when teams do bring the infield in, every ground ball is going to get through, right? So I won't say, hey, hit something on the ground, but I will say get on top of something, because getting on top of something can still mean doubling the gap to either, or I'll say stay in the middle of the field, double on the gap, stay towards the middle of the field, so we can avoid that ground ball to third with the right-handed batters. Hopefully that's just my approach. That's my approach. Yeah.
Coach, you mentioned vision training. Is there some specifics that you start with versus kind of more graduate level?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So starting with vision training, you want to be able to take the time to identify which of your hitters have a specific dominant eye. So we could do a real simple dominant eye test right now with everybody in the room. So if you have a water bottle or something in front of you, just put it in front of you. And I'll take like a ball, I'll put it on a tee, and I'll have the hitters just make a small circle out in front of them and get the entire ball or object in that circle with both eyes open. And then I'll have those hitters go ahead and go, I'll say, close your right eye. They'll close their right eye, and if it moves, you're right eye dominant. If it doesn't move, you're left eye dominant. Real simple test. And then once you identify dominant eye, now why does that matter? And by the way, eye dominance has nothing to do with dexterity. It has nothing to do with dexterity, right? Eye dominance is just you have a dominant eye. So like 78, 80% of the human population, probably more, are right eye dominant. And then there's a very, very small percentage of the human population that is left eye dominant. And then there's a very, very small percentage of the human population that does not have an eye dominance. But we're concerned with how your eye dominance matters and how it affects, or how your swing mechanics can affect putting you at a visual disadvantage. So for example, for me, I'm left-handed batter, left side of the plate, and I'm left eye dominant. So my dominant eye is in the back. So I really have to do a better job with head, neck, and shoulders, flexibility, range of motion, to get that dominant eye involved in the tracking process. Because if I'm hitting like this, I'm trying to hit with my lead eye here, which is not my dominant eye. I'm going to have some vision problems, some tracking problems. Secondly, when the kids go into that counter rotation when they load the chest, we don't want to turn the dominant eye away from the field of vision. So those are some things visually that I like to make sure that I cover immediately, because the eyes lead the body. The body leads the barrel. And then the barrel, obviously, we get a lot of things like misdirection and things like that. And the misdirection can cause like getting around the ball, getting under the ball, being late to the ball, slicing the ball, clipping the ball, and hitting the ball probably less flush. And a lot of that stems from just vision. So vision has to be the first thing that we have to start with vision, because that's the beginning of the swing. It's not separate from the swing. How we see it can't be separate from the swing. Does that make sense? So I'm really big on vision. In fact, there's with my certified coaching program, it's a perception action system of coaching, where we were able to assess all of the things that would affect vision: posture, dynamic balance, lack of stability, misdirection. All those things that affect vision are usually the things that are causing hitters to not be as effective and efficient. It's going to start with vision, yeah.
So how do you, as a left-handed hitter, left eye dominant, adjust your stance to create better vision?
So, good one. So I won't, it would be the same for a right-handed batter who's right eye dominant, right? So I would, instead of having, you got to watch for this, if they're over-rotating on the load, they're going to turn that dominant eye out of it. So we'll go this way on the load instead of this way on the load. I'll have that front shoulder go down, back elbow up, and then re-slot the back elbow this way, as opposed to turning and showing the pitcher two numbers on the jersey. And I'll use like cues like jersey. Okay, we want to show the pitcher maybe some of the first number on the jersey. But if the pitcher can see two, you went too far. Yes.
Would you not, if we opened you up stance-wise,
Open stance.
there's too much head movement, right? And we're going to lose.
Yeah. So
Because the common misperception, isn't it, open up a left high?
I have a very valid swing bias against open stances, because I just don't coach enough kids who are athletic and coordinated enough to do it.
Too much, right?
I just at all. I don't get those kids. I had a kid that played at Georgia. She was first team All-American 4 times from New Jersey. She was able to do it. The kids that I'm working with a lot, why complicate your life? And that's just where I'm at. Those are kids. I don't know who you're working with, but I don't have kids that can have open stances and get the foot down. You know, if you're working with those high level, definite SEC kids, definite MLB kids, it's such a complex movement system with and still being able to get a load in. It's like, it does look cool. And I always tell the kids, you look so cool right there.
Feel good.
But you can't hit, right? So I just have that bias against it. And then even the players who do have it at the higher levels, it still has to be short. Because you got to get that foot down, you know? And that's just where I'm at with that.
Speaking of that, what do you do with timing? Kid that's off on timing, right? I got a lot of 12 of you, a lot of girls that are jumping on the front side. What do you do to drill them out?
So my favorite thing, and if you hear from my demo that I'm doing in a few, my favorite thing is taking away strides.
Okay.
That's my favorite. Let's be honest, like softball is not teaching kids how to be athletic. The better softball players probably play basketball, soccer, volleyball, or some other sport where they're getting more athleticism, and then they're coming over to softball as better athletes and dominating the non-athletic kids who only play one sport, which is softball, just because of their athleticism. So they're going to understand rhythm and timing and agility and mobility and movement patterns, and they're going to naturally have those abilities because of the other sports are teaching them those things, right? So I would say that if we can get the stride shorter, and I like to give, like, especially when I'm working with younger players, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, no one's really messed them up yet when they're that age. You know, they still kind of still have a lot of really good things that have not been coached out of them. So I like to have those players move how they want to move. But if the stride can be, in terms of stride length, the same size as the half the size of the foot. The stride length should be about half the size of their foot or shorter. And I'm a big fan of no stride, if you can get them to buy into it. It's hard to get kids to buy into no stride.
What do you cue them? Throw your hands? What do you cue them? Because they
So
still want to-
cueing would be getting them to understand where the actual load comes from, where the actual power comes from. Because most kids think and feel that power comes from the step. That's where they're at. So you have to be effective enough in your communication to get them to understand that that's not where it comes from. It's the timing thing. So what I'll do is I have two things. Two things both solve the same question you asked. You asked about the lunge, so that would be stride direction, and then there's stride length as a timing system. So I'll do, and I did it this morning with the young kids, right? I'll take a ball and put the ball directly under them. So I got nose, belly button, ball. Straight line. Nose, belly button, ball. Okay? Now, when they take their step, no matter how big it is, they need to maintain that alignment of nose, belly button, ball. So I got nose, belly button, ball. I still have it. Most kids leave, especially the younger they are. So you could do that because now they have a reference point that's also visual. And then when they stop here, you separate and they can kind of see, oh yeah, I am getting misaligned with my center of gravity, right? My center of mass. So that's a good way to help them to feel that. And they could do that, like, no bat at home in the mirror, and oh, I am lungy, and just get real good at like feeling that. Okay, that's one. And two, I'll put another ball a little bit in front of their foot, so they can really feel how big and how long the stride actually is. Because the name of the game is we want our players to be able to get their foot down on time. Not early though, because early means they're coming to a stop. We don't want them to get down early, now they're stopped, now they got to start again. We want them to be on time, and they should be like slow to go, but not start, stop, start again. That's going to take a lot away from their momentum and a lot away from their true power. So, going further in timing though, there are 3 timings. So if you're working with like 14, 15, 16-year-olds, I think the excuse sometimes for them is, my timing's off. What do you mean your timing's off? Let's dig into that. So I think timing, there's 3 timings that I like to talk about. So the first timing would be what we just talked about with the stride foot. It's my body locking in with the pitcher's body, and that's usually stride related. So body, my body, pitcher's body, synchronizing. And it's different with each pitcher, because every pitcher is different. And then the second timing is going to be more visual. It's ball, am I tracking it? Is it a vision issue? Am I a little bit behind visually? Am I a little bit visually late? Right? That's the second time that has to happen. And then the third timing is going to literally be like back shoulder to the direction of the ball, which is also hands and barrel to the ball. That's going to be the third timing. And if the first timing is off, like that front foot timing, the other two will never be able to catch up. So that first time is always going to be, and which is why, when you think about it, we're trying to teach kids when to get their foot down. Sometimes we're wasting our time. You might as well just take it away. And we're not going to stride today, guys. Let's go. A lot of college teams have made those adjustments if you're paying attention in game. I think it was when Oklahoma played Tennessee and they had to face Pickens, a lot of the Oklahoma hitters made that adjustment, if you paid attention, where they stopped striding against her, which is pretty cool that just to see that it's happening. Even at that level, it's happening. Like, we gotta survive. She's throwing 78. Like, I can either be right and late, or I can make an adaptation to help me to have some success in getting my bat to ball and having better bat to ball skills. So.
How many, like you have a 4-month season, how many different hitting drills? Like, you know, I try to stick to a few favorites that I always have. I try to stick to drills, you know, even in high school, we're not staying on our backside. And timing drills are probably what I do a lot most with my group. But, you know, once we get towards the end of May and into June, those same drills, they just go through the motions kind of. So, I mean, how many different hitting drills do you think as a coach that you should have in your pocket for when they start going through the motions?
Yeah,
One?
you know what I really think, to be honest with you, if I'm coaching a team, there are so many things that I have to cover. And I don't have enough time in a practice to really address swing issues, if we're honest.
Yeah.
Right? We got ground balls, we have individual defense, we have team defense, first and thirds, bunt defenses, rundowns, all type coverages, cuts, relays, base running. We have so many different things to work on. Oh yeah, my pitchers. How about that? Like, we got so many things that we have to cover to win that it becomes so much less about swings and so much more about hitting. And you're going to have more opportunities to spend that quality time with your hitters in the pregame warm-up. And if you can structure your warm-up in a way that it becomes a developmental session in the warm-up, you kind of sneak in a pregame practice in there too, where you can focus on hitting. But not swings. And my favorite things, especially on game day for the pregame warm-up, my all-time favorite is the heavy balls. And the reason why the heavy balls are so good, like I love working with heavy balls, is they give us feedback. They give the hitters feedback because they can see the quality of their contact. They can see if they have good direction to a pitch. They can see if they have good post-contact direction. They can feel it. It's more sensory for them, the feel of it. So I think less tee on game day, unless you're using it as a placebo, because the tee is not moving, the ball's not moving, the ball's not coming from anywhere, the ball's not going anywhere, it doesn't have a velocity, it's not moving. The decision is already made for you when the ball's on the tee. There's no decision-making process. So if we can eliminate tee work on game day, unless you have a kid who, I just have to hit the tee because it just makes me feel good about myself. It's not getting you ready. It's definitely not getting you ready. It's definitely not getting you better. But it may help that 2 or 3, 4 kids feel good.
Yeah.
So for that reason, yes. But I would do less tee and more moving ball.
Like wiffles, heavies, front toss.
And I would do close wiffle,
Close.
so it's faster,
Yeah.
which forces them to short and forces them to a faster body, faster bat. So now first inning, you know, their nervous system, the central nervous system is sped up. They're ready in the first inning to be fast, not the third inning, which is kind of too late. We're already down by 4. You know, so it's like I believe in speeding up the warm up to a faster pace than the game is. So when the game starts, the game is slow for them because the warm up took care of getting everything ready and getting everything sped up for them. So. And there's so many different things. I mean, just being creative in that area. There's a certain way in which I like to do side toss when they're working with partners. I don't like side toss where the side tosser throws it up on an arc. I like to have a firmer side toss so it goes in straight. I like to mix it up, kneecaps, mid-thigh, belt buckle sternum, belly button sternum. So it's different heights, and the hitters have to have there's adjustability happening there. But sometimes they do side toss and it's just a flip, which is just slowing the hitter down, slowing down the eyeball, slowing down the cognitive process.
So are you angling it more? Are you getting a little?
So yeah, so if you get step for a second, just go like this. So he's the hitter, I'm here. I'm tossing. I got my hitter checked in, 2 eyes on the pitcher. When I drop, the pitcher, he can go into his load and watch the ball. And my flip is, I'm gonna throw my water bottle at you. My flip, just catch the water bottle. Just catch it. It's firm. As opposed to,
Yeah.
oh my God, what are we getting ready for?
Yeah.
So if you thank you. So if you're teaching your players how to warm up properly, you take that time, and your warm up is really, really good. They're prepared first inning. Let's go. And you're sneaking in practices in that warm up as well at the same time. That you're not going to be able to get to that stuff in a 2-hour practice for high school, 2.5. I don't even know what it is. And forget about college. They're going to have to learn how to have practice better, because when they get to college, you're very limited in practice time. It's NCAA rules. We can only practice this amount of time. And believe it or not, the best teams, you'd be shocked, it's about 70-30 hitting everything else in practice. 30's hitting. So kids are hitting on their own. They're coming back to the facility and hitting on their own. People aren't spending that much time on hitting at the collegiate level either. You just don't have time. And I feel like for us, like travel ball, stuff like that warm-up though, that's it.
Can you give an example of like what your warm-up looks like?
So our warm-up, I designed 4 bats. And I have a bat program, a bat speed program I don't call it a bat speed program because it's really it's called Swing Dynamics, and it's a swing program, and each bat is designed to create better feel for each hitter. So one of them is a long bat, it's 40 inches. And the only way you can swing it is if your body perfectly sequences every single time. If you don't sequence properly, you cannot swing a 40-inch bat. And I use it in my lessons all the time as well, right? So kids who need to gravitate towards that will gravitate towards that, right? Then I have a short bat, the shorty. It's a 27-inch bat that is, and by the way, all the bats are Pro Maple wood. It's a 27-inch bat, and it forces the hitters that would want to push. You can't push. The bat's too short. You got to let it get a little deeper and then turn, but still hit it out front. The people who want to fly open can't fly open either because the bat's too short. So it helps correct things and coach feel without me babysitting every hitter. Then there's a heavy bat. The heavy bat is 20 ounces lighter than a game, 20 ounces heavier than a game bat. And obviously for strength and overload, we use that one in the pregame and the warm-up. And then there's an underload bat, which is 20% lighter. It's skinny. It's almost like a stickball bat, but it also has a bigger knob on the bottom of it, so you have a real bat feel on the bottom hand. And I developed those bats over the course of maybe like 15, 20 years with a bat company, and I went up to the factory, designed them myself. But I was kind of like using them on my own for a long time, just in the cages with my kids, and then certain colleges would want them, and I would like get a set cut for the college, and they could use it. And then I just started using them. I'm like marketing them, like you can buy them on the website. So that's a big part of my warm up, because I want to make sure once I've identified the major swing issues that players were having, I put them in the buckets, and then they know which bats they should be swinging the most for my team during that warm up, and what types of sequences they should be using the bat. Like 8 heavy, 8 game, 8 light. If I have some bat speed issues, 8 game, 8 more light, 8 game bat. Short bat, short bat, short bat only. Maybe long bat, short bat. Maybe short bat, game bat. Everybody's a little different in terms of what they need. And by the time we get to like game 10, and they've been swinging them every day in pregame, it's like a whole different world. And I'll have a tea station set up. I always have heavy balls. And it's different. It's almost like going into a cafeteria. And you eat what you want to eat, guys. Everybody come eat. But maybe you want to eat over there, maybe you want to eat over there, maybe you want to eat over there. It's fine. You eat over there, you eat over here. So I like having my warm-up that way, that the players can get what they need. And it could be different for every hitter on the team. But I just want to make sure. And if we have access to cages sometimes at tournaments and stuff, then, it's front toss, It's conversations happening. It's music making them feel good. They want to bring their music and they want to pump music. It's fine. I also like allowing players to even have on a pair of headphones, wireless headphones. They're in the zone and they're just like feeling good to get ready for the game. Giving them the freedom, I think, is good. And getting them to talk about stuff, to talk about swings with each other and having that interaction is good. Yeah, so that's how my pregame would look.
Thank
Yep.
With that light bat you have, who is that for?
That's for the players who do not have organic bat speed. And they need to speed up everything pregame warm-up for that day. And it just speeds everything up because it's lighter. And they just need it because they have what I call, they have to manufacture their bat speed. It's not organic. Some people wake up in the morning and they're fast. Some people wake up in the morning and they're slow. So that specific bat is for that specific kid who just does it. They're just not fast. They're just not fast twitch. They're not twitchy. They're not, just not that kid.
I have a question.
Yeah.
I was watching a video with you, and you were talking about recognizing where the pitch is. And you told the girl, you're not gonna recognize that at the speed you're seeing. You're not gonna say, okay, that's outside. You don't have enough time to say, that's outside, I'm gonna hit it to right center field.
That's true.
How do you, I didn't see the rest of the video because it was something on.
It's probably short, yeah.
But how do you teach that? How do you get them to understand? Because I've seen being a baseball guy before. You got a ball here for an inside, you got a ball in the middle of the plate, and you hit like that, and you're supposed to recognize that.
Well, see, so let me articulate that a little different than how you explained it. And maybe I didn't do a good job of explaining it in the video, but I'll say this. We have all traditionally who have played this game, if you've played this game, you have all been taught and told, and you can finish my sentence. If the ball's inside,
Swing early.
hit it to the pull side. The ball's out in the middle, hit it up the middle. If the ball's outside, but who has that time to say, oh, it's outside. Let me take my oppo swing to that ball. Oh, wow, you know what? That's inside. We're talking less than 0.4 of a second. Think about it now. That's not realistic. So a big part of hitting, and this is why this is why pitchers who throw harder have a tendency to be more successful against hitters who aren't fast enough, because their cognitive overload in their brain is trying to do impossible things. What we need to be doing, which is I think where I was going in that video, is we need to be teaching them how to anticipate and not react. Because if I'm reacting to something, I'm reacting to something that's already happened.
So you're late.
And I'm late. But if I'm anticipating something, it hasn't happened yet. So I can start going to that space. And I have 3 hitters coming in to do my demos today. 3 different types of hitters, 3 different level hitters, different types of body types. And you'll start, and I'm going to go through like the in-game adjustments and cues and show how we give instruction without giving instruction. Because I think us giving instruction is what's causing the cognitive overload and slowing kids down. And now they want to be thinkers instead of like players. They want to be thinkers. And I think that's causing a lot of kids that could have been better or could be better to not be. So if we can anticipate the drills like I just showed you with the side toss drill, that being a firm side toss, that hitter has to naturally anticipate because I'm forcing them to anticipate. If I toss it like this, they don't have to anticipate anymore. Does that make sense? So how we train, how we warm up, how we get our kids to make those adjustments, those visual adjustments in the warm up, retrains that process so that the last part of the swing, which is the swing, that's the last part, because vision is first, cognitive process is the second, the last part is the swing. But most of us are only teaching the swing. We're only looking at swing. but we're not looking at the two things that preceded the swing that are affecting the swing the most, which is perception, cognition. That's where I'm at with it. And those are things that I'm doubling down on with my certified coaches and with when I'm working with groups like this, that because you're all here because you're curious and you want more. You want you want to get those. You understand that there are little things. That's why you're in this room, and there are little things that we don't always see. I call it the invisible mechanics. Vision training are the invisible mechanics, because I can't look at it film the swing. I want to see her vision. You can't. I want to see her mental game. You can't. You can't see her mental game. You're only seeing the swing. That happened because of things that you're not seeing. And those are conversations that we have to have with hitters. And ask the right questions. And understand eye dominance. And understand what types of posture is affecting head stability, eye stability. Because we can give them a more visual advantage instead of having that visual disadvantage. Mm-hmm.
I had a question for you.
Yeah. Go ahead. I'll get you next.
The spine angle. Any tricks of getting into the good hip hinge spine angle, but more importantly, keeping it through the swing? I have a lot of players that get it and they lose it in the swing, so it roll over.
I'm gonna tell you. I will tell you, it is hard. And as a coach, you have to be consistent. All good direction comes from really good posture. So we want our hitters to be here. And if they don't start there, I start my kids here, right? Older, more skilled players can start here and get to posture or get to forward bend at launch. The hard part is getting them to stay there throughout the swing. And being consistent about it can be exhausting. And for some people, it may take months. For some people, it may only take weeks. For some people, they can just get it right away. It just depends on who the kid is, what type of mobility they have, what kind of movement issues they may have with limited movement abilities. But what I found is when I'm working with kids from the knee drive position, or even with yoga blocks, you could have the kids stand on top of yoga blocks with both feet down, heels and toes down on the yoga blocks, with forward bend and posture, and just have them work swing stops, and then see if they're coming up. Most players are coming up out of the forward bend. It's a contact depth issue. Because they're letting the ball get too deep, they have to come up to make space. That's a different reason. That's not always a mobility issue. That's just they need to readjust where they think contact should happen. That might solve that for some players. But players who aren't necessarily hitting the ball too deep, it's definitely like a mobility, movement limitation thing that they have going on. And with the yoga blocks, I've been able to help kids like stabilize pelvis, have better pelvic control, have better pelvic direction, right? And maintain it with the half swing, and then hold it for 3 seconds. 1, 2, 3. But be careful, because most kids are going to hold it for 1 and then stop. They need to hold it so the body learns it. And I have kids that have been doing that for a year, because it takes a year sometimes for them to really get there. For me, and then you could do a progression to that, and you can go forward bend, working underneath, full swing. And when you're doing that, I would eliminate stride as a distraction. You just have them only work on front shoulder loads, back shoulder delivers barrel with the forward bend of the body, and then you got your swing stop, 3-second hold, and then you're full as a progression. And that's something that I always, even when my college hitters came home for the break, the first thing we did was those drills, because that is foundational for direction. Spine bend, forward bend, you have to have it for proper direction.
Are you front tossing them? Or no?
It could be T, it could be front toss, it could be front machine, it could be anything. It could be dry swings, no ball. I just want them to feel it and move it. And that's so important for me in the success of my hitters, is them understanding how to get to that posture and hold that posture longer for really good direction. That was a great question. I think somebody was over here.
Yeah, how would you teach or differentiate a two-strike approach from your normal approach to younger hitters that are just kind of learning the game, like 10U, 12U?
Yeah. So I think a lot of younger players have a complex or a trauma about two strikes. Like, oh my God, it's two strikes. I'm done. No, you're not done. Are you kidding? It's just two strikes. So in order for me to avoid that, I like to empower kids with two strikes. And the only adjustment I want them to make with two strikes is real simple. Attack a bigger zone. That's it. I love using the word attack instead of protect. See what I'm saying? There's a difference in the words. Because attack, it still gives that kid the hammer. It still empowers that player with confidence, and you're giving her confidence. So that's how I feel. I got one, and with less than two strikes, you don't have to attack a bigger zone. With two strikes, we're attacking a bigger zone. That's it. I'm not choking up. I'm not choking up. I'm not shortening up. It's softball. The fence is 200 feet. You don't got to choke up in softball. It's 200 feet. It's so easy to hit a ball into a gap off the fence, over the fence. So it's not baseball where we got to choke up because the fence is 410.
Even if they're late on their first two swings, you still wouldn't.
If they're late on their first two swings, they got bigger problems. They're gonna have to learn how to be on time. But I'm not, because since they choke up in this, they're just gonna make okay. Granted, somebody might make an error. But that's not good mental development for that kid when she gets 14, 15, 16. Because nobody's gonna want her on the team if she's like, I just want to put it in play because I don't want to strike out. You're setting the tone mentally, and you're winning the game, coach, at 10U because she put it in play and the girl threw it over the bleachers. But she's not going to be good enough to make the team at 14, 15 anymore now because we're creating the mindset that's not going to get her to where she needs to be when she gets 14, 15. I believe that 8, 9, 10, 11, 12 are the years where we have to help them to protect their confidence. And we have to build confidence. That's the number one priority, is building confidence. Because if you don't build it then, and it gets to 14U, when the pitching changes drastically, they'll never get their confidence back. They will never get it back. It is hard to get it back. So for me, when those kids are coming in, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, my number one goal is to make sure that she is confident. And if she does have a certain type of swing, I'm like, I'm going to find something good about that swing. Something's good about that swing. There's something that had to be good. Hey, that's a great job of getting your foot down. I know you missed. You missed, so what? You did a great job of getting your foot down. Let's try it again. You know, something has to be good because people are trained to find what's wrong. 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, you have to be super, super positive. You have to be. It is about the empowerment of their confidence. Otherwise, it's going to be harder for them as they get older to get it back. Yeah. Yep.
What's your opinion on taking first strike versus not?
Yeah, I think taking first. So if a player's taking first strikes out of fear, that's different if you're taking first strikes out of strategy. You know what I mean? So if you're discerning, and that's a conversation. That sometimes it's a conversation that you have. Like I'll give you an example. I have a player who, she's a high school varsity player. I believe she has the ability to be one of the top shortstops in the country. I believe she has the ability to be one of the top hitting shortstops as well in the country. I believe that. Yet she struggles in her confidence. And she takes a lot of pitches. So she's taking pitches not because she has a good eye. She's taking pitches because she's scared. And we have to address that in the conversation. And I had to empower her. I said, look, I need you to make a decision that you're going to be confident. And if you fail, you fail. You're not coming out of this lineup. I need you to work through that. And I got your back. That's a conversation. That's just a conversation. Because I don't like, and everybody in this room is coaching different levels. My 18U team, we play, and we're playing at a national level. We're playing against teams that have the 7 batters going to Alabama, the 8 batters going to Oklahoma State. We're playing against those kind of teams at travel ball, and we're all over the country playing. So I'm coaching different level, different types of kids, with different types of like platforms. But I don't think it's that much different how they're still thinking, if you know what I mean. So it becomes like confidence becomes a decision I make. But sometimes I need somebody to help, to validate me and help empower me to make that decision that I'm going to be confident. You know, and kids have to work through these things because you know when they got beat up at 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. Now you got them at 15 because they didn't get mentally prepared at the younger ages, and it gets hard. You know, so yes.
So, as a high school coach, one of the challenges I find is so much of the swing work, I believe it has to be done in the off season. But, you know, depending on what the kid, whether they're playing other sports or it's not their first sport or whatever. So, do you have any recommendations or thoughts on like, you know, I feel like by April, your swing is kind of what your swing is. You know, we can make little tweaks maybe, but also I'm the head coach. I got 2 assistants who are great, but they can't do a lot of swing stuff.
Right.
So what do you think about like how to help kids whose swings are not where they need to be by the beginning of the season to,
Good one.
you know?
I got you. That's great. That's good. Practical. Something practical. So okay, these are my big 3. Some of you guys who have heard me might have heard me do my big 3 talk. These are the 3 things, or what I like to say, the 3 reasons people can't hit. And this includes people who do work on their swings all off season. They're still struggling with these same 3 things. Because swings are still swings, and the swings are not hitting. It is not hitting. So the first one is if you can get your team to zone down or see it down or be belly button down, and you practice that in front toss, you throw balls that are higher, have counts, have 2 strike counts and less than 2 strike counts in front toss, and you structured it where it's random pitching, some strikes, some balls, some high, some low, and they learn how to leave the ball up, and you reward them for leaving the ball high. There's a reward system in place. That was great. You took 2 high pitches. Awesome. Who can take the most high pitches out of the strike zone? Make it a competition in game. And have somebody keep track, like you chart pitchers. And have a reward system. It'll be great. That's going to be huge in going deeper in counts, raising the pitcher's pitch count, and just overall discipline, and on-base percentage goes up. More walks. That's huge. That's number 1. Zoning down and having that type of discipline. Number 2, front foot getting down on time. That's something that you can practice. If you look at my videos, you notice that my front toss, my screen is always about 8 feet away from the plate. That is very intentional because I'm trying to get the kids who want to be long to not be able to be long. I'm creating an environmental constraint. I'm prohibiting them from having the option of being too long because if you are, you're going to be late. The ball's going to be by you. So they have to be able to figure out how to get the front foot down. So if that wall is the screen, and this is the plate, and this is about where I do front toss from, I'll put a ball on the ground right where you're standing, and they got to get their foot down before the ball gets to that spot. And now they have a visual to associate with front foot timing, which goes back to your original question of how we train it. And I've had a lot of success with that. So that's huge. Number 2, they all 3 of them. We need all 3, right? My swings, my kids, the swings are all over the place. What do I do? We got to play tomorrow. You know. Okay, so that's 2. Number 3 is understanding the contact space. Most players don't understand the contact space. They're hitting the ball way too deep. They're hitting the ball on this side of their front foot, and it should be on the other side of their front foot. And for me, the way I like to word it, with the way I've been wording it lately, and I'm always finding better ways to say it. For me, I've been saying it like, some of these kids are playing the wrong game. The game that I want them to play is the game of winning the space. Because if the pitcher wins the space, it means you're getting beat to the space. I want them to win the space. And metrics, science, data analytics have all told us and taught us, Rapsodo, Yakartek, TrackMan, Hit Tracks, the hardest hit balls are hit out front. The balls that aren't hit the hardest are hit deeper. That's just a mathematical, scientific fact based on research and data, not my opinion. So if those are the facts, we got to hit it out front. We got to take to your point, Coach, we got to take our horrible, bad, ugly swings and hit it out front with those swings. Because why are we wasting our time trying to fix swings and they ain't going to fix them? We got a game to play. If you're coaching games, we got to win. Because so many coaches are sitting up here trying to be right and losing. That team, look at those swings. They just beat you. Look at your swings. Nice swings. Can't hit. We're trying to win. So that's where I'm at with it. But I like that question. That was a good question. And because I think everybody can relate to that, right? What we just said. Like I think everybody's in that same boat. How do I get my 6, 7, 8, 9 hitters a little bit better? Because the best teams have 2 hitters. That's it. The best teams. And this is all across the board. The best teams in the country, 2 hitters. Those are facts. I've seen it. I tell my pitchers, we got to get past 2 hitters, guys. They only got 2. And why are you falling behind a 7 batter? Why is it 3-0 with the 7 batter for? Why are we 3-0? Just things like that. So, what else I got?
Tracking the ball. So how do you teach it to the kids in terms of release point to where that contact space is where you want them to be meeting the ball in the front? Because I know that varies, but is there some cues that you utilize that have been most consistent with kids?
And you're coaching what age?
High school.
High school. So think about it like this, right? The head. Think about the head as a camera, and the eyeballs as lenses. And the more stable the camera is, even if it's a bad camera, the more stable it is, the better my shot. The more unstable my camera is, the worse my shot, and the worse I'm going to be able to track that ball because my camera is unstable. So I believe that the front side, the front leg, would become the tripod and stabilize head and eyes. The forward bend, spine bend, would be the thing that also stabilizes the head and shoulders. Let me start from the bottom. There's going to be a stabilization sequence from the ground up. It's going to start with the front foot. So if your hitters are loading and landing on their toe, they're already off to a bad start because they're not stabilizing their front foot. They should be landing on the front heel. No, I'm sorry. It should be the whole foot, heel to toe. So it's whole foot down. Now my front side is stabilized, front leg stabilized, right? And then it works up from there. Pelvis is now stabilized. If I have good forward bend and I'm not moving the head, spine is stabilized, head stabilized. The eyeballs live in the head. The eyeballs are stabilized. That's how I'm going to have the best tracking. I'm going to be able to track the ball the best because of my visual mechanics. And that stabilization system is what informs visual mechanics. So it's not even like I have to have a conversation about, you need to be, if your hardware, which is your body where the eyes live, are getting stable visual information, or accurate visual information, we have so much better of an opportunity to be able to track a ball. And it's less complex than we think. It's less complex than we think. It's funny, I was You know, I'm working on a program right now with a doctor out of California, and we're getting ready to put out. Well, we're close. We're getting ready to put out a. He's coming at vision from a clinical side, and I'm coming at vision from a sports skill side, and we're combining our and I'm like, and I've always wanted to do this, by the way, with somebody on that side of it, but most people who are on that side of it just don't really, in my opinion, really get it, and that's something that I'm excited about because I think it's going to be game changing, but I believe that there are other factors in terms of like how we can reset the entire system with breathing techniques. You'd be shocked at how just breaths, like I'm inhaling for 6 seconds, holding for 2, exhaling for 4, right? Doing certain types of sets. He created, Dr. Shah, he created a pregame warm-up for my hitters, and we started doing it in the fall. It was really just a kind of like a vision reset kind of warm-up before the game. It just kind of like settles them and gets the eyes moving and saccadic movements right and left, up and down, closer and then longer, and working closer thumb, further thumb, and the eyes are moving and then just doing sets of those. We had we put together like a whole like 5 to 7 minute routine, which I thought helped them. I thought we hit the ball a little bit better after we started doing those things. So there are other things and other factors, but it's hard to go into it in this setting. But those, if I understand that stability ground up, and I understand that as a coach, at least I got the hardware together, where the kids that even have the bad cameras, at least it's a bad camera that's not moving around. You know what I mean? So that's a good thing. Yeah.
You talked about the breathing techniques.
Yeah.
Like, so what do you have in your batters? Like, what kind of mindset do you want your batters to have when they walk in? Like, is that sort of the breathing techniques is probably to get them like relaxed,
Yes.
more comfortable?
Mm-hmm.
And so, like, can you talk a little more about that?
Yeah, I think a lot of hitters, a lot of players in 2026, I'm seeing a lot of anxiety, more than normal. And then when you meet their parents, you know why they have anxiety. and that was not a joke, but it's funny, but it's not funny, but it's like
Sad.
like so we have to be able to find ways as coaches to literally cut through that somehow and help our players. And it's a true story. I wasn't at the mound visit. There was a mound visit that happened this fall. And our catcher took out a stress ball from her back pocket and gave it to the pitcher and said, squeeze on this will work for you. So the kids are finding ways to do, they understand their emotions. They're understanding what's happening. And they're literally being more creative and more proactive and things like that, of finding ways to help to mitigate where their emotions can take them. And we had a pitcher who she's about 67, 68 miles an hour, but she couldn't throw a strike. So I started filming her just to see rhythm, timing. And what I noticed is that she was catching the ball from the catcher and literally like going into the next pitch. So we were in Scenic City down in Tennessee in the fall when I realized it. And then I said, you know what, we're going to start working with her, catch the ball from the catcher, take a walk back to the top of the circle, take a walk back to the rubber, get your sign, deep breath, pitch. All of a sudden, she started like actually working ahead in the count just because of the breathing. Some of the hitters that I've worked with in Zoom calls, the Zoom call, that's all we're doing is we're going through pre-pitch routines, post-pitch routines in between pitches, and getting them to understand thought process, how to have better self-talk, how to speak to themselves in more of a positive tone. A lot of girls are negative, but they learn that from somewhere. So now we have to reteach them how to be more positive. So, and I think that can start with your practice environment and giving them I like to say this all the time, I want to give the hitters the freedom. So I'm not creating a box for them because then I wouldn't be giving them freedom. No boxes. The freedom to be as creative as they need to be to find solutions. Which is really the solution is I got to be able to get to the space. I got to be able to win that space. How do I win that space? What's going to help me? And then give them the feedback that they need. And it starts with just being at a conference like this. You guys are getting more information. You're learning more. You're adding more things to your repertoire of coaching into your coaching toolbox that can help more players. And it starts like this. It starts by just being in places like this. These conventions are great. Yep.
You said a lot of girls have negative self-talk. How do you work with them on giving them the space to have more positive? Or what do you work with them to have that positive mindset?
I'm sorry, I got distracted because I'm on in a big room at 4 minutes, but
Oh, yeah.
I'm sorry. No. I'm answering this question. I got to run over there and get mic'd up. But I just got distracted for 1 second. So ask me that one more time.
What do you do to kind of help build that positive mindset with girls? Like break that negative mindset,
Yeah. So
negative self-talk.
So first of all, you got to get buy-in from parents and explain to parents in a meeting, in a group, with the kids, without the kids, what the issues that you're trying to resolve and how they can help you. Sometimes it could be the car ride home. It could be who initiates the conversations that happen in game. But I think the most important thing is our coaching cues as coaches, our cues, how we cue our athletes in different parts of the game, the cues that we give them become their cues. It becomes their self-talk. It literally does. So if we can record yourselves. Just record yourself for the whole practice one day. I do it all the time. I always record myself and I always listen to myself, and then I always find better ways to say things. We have to master the English language. It's a difficult language to master, but we have to be better communicators. We're only as good as what we can effectively communicate. And how we communicate becomes how they communicate to themselves. I promise you. I wish we had more time. This is good. I wish we had more time, but I'm like literally.
Thank you.
I gotta get over here. Okay, thank you. Yep. Thank you. Yep, take care.
I laugh when I see those happening in slow
Yeah,
motion.
got it.
I'm like, why are you using